Brock University's Department of Visual Arts is proud to be presenting a curated exhibition of student work.
This show is an instrument of color. It is a third-year intermediate painting exhibition. This is the second-year group of painters that come through our program. It would be the second year of training. And it's a kind of hybrid exhibition of term project works, which is work that they instrument, they undertake, they research, they get involved in, and it's essentially them finding their own voice. And you can see the large two works here are a good example of that. And then we have a number of other works in the exhibition that are more directed, that one in particular deals with looking at a couple of Canadian painters, Phil Dara and Joseph Plaskett. So the artists were asked to investigate these painters and look at their techniques and practices.
In terms of preparing for this show, Shawn asked us to find new color in our paintings, and was something that he said that resonated with me was, I want you to create the best paintings that you ever have before. And when you have that in the back of your mind, it makes it easier to kind of be guided towards what you want to do. So for me personally, it was a lot of experimentation, a lot of playing with tonality in a way that I haven't before, finding new textures and working on a piece bigger than what I've ever been comfortable with doing before.
Artist Ray Kelly describes her process in creating Grief in G minor.
It was inspired by Phil Dara, and I'm not someone who works abstractly like that. His work very much looks like paint it could have been painted by a 3-year-old, but it's still like a fine art piece. It's abstracted, it's very purposeful. So when it came for me to abstract something, I started off with a Tabasco bottle and abstracting the Tabasco bottle. And then that being my original source of inspiration, then just kind of changing it and then turning it into something that I wanted aesthetically pleasing.
The great thing about the visual arts program here at Brock University is not just the program itself, which is very diverse and you get to experiment with lots of different mediums, but also the facilities that are provided to the students here at the Marilyn I. Walker School of Fine and Performing Arts, and not just the wonderful and beautiful spaces that we have, but the opportunities that those spaces provide the students.
As an artist, we always have to try to be different, and I like to paint landscapes, and that's been done for centuries, so you always gotta reinvent, do something different. So I thought, or I'll paint landscapes but take out objects. So I took out an entire bridge and just left it as negative space. At the beginning, it's scary, because again, it's big, and you need a step ladder to get to the very top of it. I'm too short for this. And the middle is kind of all right, you get a good vibe going, and the end you're just oh my God, is this done? Is this good enough? Is it interesting?
Blake Wilson created mega blocks from a group of random objects given to him by his teacher.
He gave me a bag of Lego bricks, so thought maybe I'd make it into a bigger Lego brick. So I melted it down in my oven at home and made it into these big Lego bricks. And then he also gave me a doily kind of frilly thing, so I put it over cardboard and then spray painted it to stick with the anti-aesthetic, kind of go with the raw feeling of the cardboard and the messy look of the Lego.
Sweet Utopia by artist Krista Knapp was created by merging two existing projects.
They're actually meant to be separate projects, and then during our critique, our midterm critique, my teacher, Shawn, he thought it would be a good idea to combine them just because the styles were similar, and he thought it was an interesting contrast between the city and then the cupcakes, so he thought it was a good idea to integrate them. My Plaskett painting, which is a still life based off of the artist Plaskett, and blocks that were just part of my midterm piece, so it's just a bunch of small individual blocks put together to create a little city.
An Instrument of Color student exhibition will be on display until November 29th. In Niagara, you're watching The Source.